Epoxy tables are a marvel of modern craftsmanship, combining the natural beauty of wood with the glossy, durable finish of epoxy resin. These tables have become a popular choice for both functional furniture and artistic centerpieces. However, like all things of beauty, they require care to maintain their pristine condition. This video provides insight and practical advice from some woodworkers and epoxy experts, each providing their unique perspective on how to prevent scratches and ensure the longevity of these stunning pieces. James, can you start by telling us a bit about epoxy resin and why it is used for tables? Epoxy resin is a polymer that's known for its high strength, durability, and excellent adhesive properties. It's used in a variety of applications, from industrial coatings to art projects. For tables, epoxy provides a clear hard surface that enhances the natural beauty of the wood underneath while offering protection from moisture and wear. What makes epoxy tables particularly susceptible to scratches? Despite its hardness, epoxy resin can still be scratched by sharp objects or abrasive materials. The clear finish tends to show scratches more prominently than other types of finishes. This is why understanding the right techniques and materials for preventing and addressing scratches is crucial for maintaining the table's appearance. Sarah, a seasoned woodworker, invited us into her workshop to discuss the initial stages of creating an epoxy table. Her approach highlights the importance of material selection in preventing future damage. When I start a new epoxy table project, I pay careful attention to the type of wood and epoxy resin I use. Hardwoods like oak, maple, and walnut are excellent choices because they provide a solid foundation that pairs well with epoxy. The quality of the epoxy resin is equally important. I always opt for a high-grade UV-resistant resin to prevent yellowing and ensure durability. What other factors do you consider during preparation? Sanding the wood surface before applying epoxy is critical. A smooth, even surface helps the epoxy adhere better and reduces the risk of air bubbles, which can weaken the finish. I also make sure the wood is completely dry and free of dust or debris. Any contaminant can affect the clarity and strength of the epoxy layer. Tom, can you walk us through the process of applying epoxy to a wooden table? Absolutely. The application process is both an art and a science. First, I mix the epoxy resin and hardener according to the manufacturer's instructions. It's crucial to measure accurately to ensure the right chemical reaction occurs. Once mixed, I pour the epoxy onto the center of the table and use a spreader to evenly distribute it to the edges. What technique do you use to prevent bubbles and ensure a smooth finish? I use a heat gun or a propane torch to remove bubbles that form during the pouring process. The heat causes the bubbles to rise to the surface and pop. It's also important to work in a dust-free environment and to cover the table with a tent or plastic sheet while it cures. This prevents dust or debris from settling on the surface and marring the finish. Emily, an expert in protective coatings, shared her insights on enhancing the durability of epoxy tables through additional layers of protection. One of the best ways to protect an epoxy table from scratches is to apply a high-quality polyurethane top coat. Polyurethane is incredibly tough and adds an extra layer of defense against everyday wear and tear. How do you apply the polyurethane top coat? After the epoxy has fully cured, I lightly sand the surface with a fine-grained sandpaper to create a rough texture for the polyurethane to adhere to. I then apply the polyurethane with a high density from roller or a brush, making sure to use long, even strokes. It's important to apply multiple thin coats rather than one thick coat. This allows each layer to dry properly and build up a strong, durable finish. Mark, What are some daily practices you recommend to keep an epoxy table scratch-free? Regular maintenance is key to keeping an epoxy table in a top condition. I always advise using coasters, placemats, and trivets to prevent scratches from items like glasses, plates, and hot pots. It's also important to avoid dragging heavy or sharp objects across the surface. What cleaning methods do you recommend? For routine cleaning, a soft damp cloth with a mild dish soap works well. Avoid harsh chemicals or abrasive cleaners as they can damage the epoxy finish. For more stubborn stains, a mixture of water and vinegar can be effective. Always make sure to dry the surface thoroughly after cleaning to prevent any moisture damage. Lisa, a restoration specialist, demonstrated her technique for repairing scratches on epoxy tables. The first step in repairing a scratch is to clean the area thoroughly to remove any dirt or debris. Then, I use a fine grit sandpaper to gently sand the scratch, blending it into the surrounding area. This step requires a delicate touch to avoid creating more damage. What do you do after sanding? After sanding, I clean the area again and apply a small amount of epoxy resin to fill in the scratch. I use a fine brush or a toothpick to carefully apply the resin, making sure it's level with the surrounding surface. Once the resin cures, I sand it lightly and apply a final coat of polyurethane to restore the glossy finish. John, can you share some long-term preventive measures to keep epoxy tables looking their best? Sure. One of the best preventive measures is to place the table in a location where it is less likely to be exposed to potential damage, such as away from high traffic areas or direct sunlight. Sunlight can cause the epoxy to yellow over time, so using UV resistant window films or placing the table in a shaded area can help. Any other tips? Using furniture pads or felt protectors on the bottoms of objects placed on the table is another great way to prevent scratches. Additionally, conducting regular inspections and addressing any minor damage promptly can prevent small issues from becoming larger problems. It's also worth considering professional maintenance every few years to keep the table in top condition. Rahel, how is technology playing a role in the preservation of epoxy tables? Advances in material science and technology are continuously improving the durability and longevity of epoxy tables. For example, newer formulations of epoxy resin are being developed to be more scratch resistant and UV stable. There are also innovative coatings and sealants that provide superior protection without compromising the table's aesthetic appeal. Can you give an example of a recent innovation? One exciting development is the use of nanotechnology in protective coatings. These coatings contain nanoparticles that form a high durable scratch resistance layer. They also have self-healing properties, which means minor scratches can repair themselves over time. This technology is still evolving, but it holds a great promise for the future of epoxy table preservation. As we wrap up, can each of you share your top tip for preventing scratches on epoxy tables? James, my top tip is to invest in high quality epoxy resin and take the time to apply it correctly. A strong, well applied base will make all the difference. Sarah, choose your materials wisely and ensure the wood is well prepared before applying epoxy. This foundation work is crucial for a long-lasting finish. Tom, don't rush the application process. Use the right tools and techniques to achieve a smooth, bubble-free finish. Emily, apply a durable top coat like polyurethane. It adds an extra layer of protection and can be easily reapplied. Mark, incorporate protective habits into your daily routine. Simple actions like using coasters and avoiding abrasive cleaners can go a long way. Lisa, for minor scratches, Address them promptly with gentle sanding and a small application of epoxy. Preventing small issues from becoming big problem is key. John, think about the long-term placement of your table. Keep it away from direct sunlight and high traffic areas to minimize potential damage. Rahel, stay informed about new technologies and products that can enhance the durability of your epoxy table. Innovations like nanotechnology can provide significant benefits. Thank you all for sharing your expertise. This has been incredibly informative. Alright, maintaining an epoxy table requires a combination of careful material selection, proper application techniques, and diligent maintenance. By following the advice, you can ensure that your epoxy table remains a beautiful and durable centerpiece for years to come. Consider subscribing to the channel for more videos like this.